Hi YouTube, it's Shanelli here. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about my recent trip to Thailand. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably already saw some of the pictures that I posted and some of the things that I did, but a lot of different people were actually DMing me and commenting on the videos and the pictures that I posted saying, are you gonna post a video on YouTube channel about how to make a trip like that affordable? First, I would love to remind you of my number, which you can call to leave me a message about any topics or questions that you want me to feature here on my channel. My number that you can call is 774-231-8522. So here are the top 10 things that I did to save as much money as I could when I was in Thailand. Number one is gonna be finding a travel buddy. I knew that if I went to Thailand completely on my own, it was gonna cost 100% of the cost was gonna be on me. So I thought, okay, let me make sure that a big trip like this that's gonna be so far away, that's gonna have such an expensive flight, I'm gonna go with a buddy so we can split everything once we get there. That means everywhere that we stayed, all of the food, every time that we took a ferry or a taxi or any kind of excursions or any kind of tours or things like that, we all were able to just basically split the cost and it wasn't gonna be as expensive for me. If I could get two of my girlfriends together, then that way I'm saving even more by dividing the costs by 3. But in this case, I just had a buddy, which was my niece, and she and I saved a lot by splitting the cost by 2. The second thing that we did was save a lot of money on the flights by booking super early. So the flight, when you go to Thailand, the flight is gonna be the most expensive thing. So what we did was 2 things. We put a flight alert on the flight that we needed from New York to Thailand. And the second thing that we did was we looked way ahead of time, like more than 6 months early. So October, November of 2018, we booked our flights and we didn't travel till April 2019. So a couple months of gap between the time that we booked the flights and the time that we actually travel. And the reason why I recommend this is because the earlier you book your travel, the cheaper your tickets are gonna be. When it comes to plane rides, that's just like a no-brainer. The more time you give yourself, the more money you're gonna save. But also the reason why this is an advantage is because the earlier you start, the more you can watch the ticket price go up and down, and that way you get a sense for what is actually a good discount. So what we did was we used Hopper, and then the one that I use is called hipmonk.com. Google Flights also lets you put an alert on a flight, and they'll email you with all of the different price like notifications. Our goal was $650. We wanted to try to get a round trip ticket for each of us for about $650. So as soon as it dropped down below $650, it alerted us by sending us an email notification saying, hey, your trip to Thailand, the ticket just dropped below $650. And then once we saw that email, we're like, okay, this is the time to buy. Now, it's not just about when you book your travel, it's also about when you actually travel. So you're gonna wanna try as best you can to book your travel during the out of season times, because for somebody like me who lives in New York City, there's gonna be times where it's gonna be very cold, like between October, November, and like February or March. Those are gonna be the times where those are peak traveling hours, because that's when people want to escape the cold and go to a place like Thailand where it's nice and hot. So those are going to be the times where the flights are the most expensive to travel during those months. So what we did was we looked during that time for flights in April, which is right when the slow season starts. And that's how we were able to really maximize getting a ticket really, really early and paying a really, really cheap flight. So make sure you think about when is off season, when is peak season for traveling to that specific country, coming from wherever you're coming from and going there, and really keep in mind how you can try to plan ahead to get that time off. So both of those things combined will help you save hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Every time that you forget to bring little things like toothpaste or shampoo or sunscreen, if you buy those things at the airport, you know that those items are gonna be way overpriced because they know that people forgot them and you don't have no other choice. So the airport is going to overprice those things. On top of that, when you go to a place like Thailand, all the stores over there also know that there's a lot of tourists coming in. So they sell those things at really expensive prices. So the best thing you could do is just bring those things from home. What I did was I had a bunch of little plastic bottles that I recycled. I filled them with shampoo, conditioner, I filled them with lotion, and we filled them with sunscreen, and we just put all those little bottles in our bag, and that way we didn't have any issues with TSA, and we didn't have to worry about buying stuff like that when we got there. Another thing that we knew we weren't going to be able to do was drink water in Thailand. You're not supposed to drink the tap water. So we knew already that we were gonna have to buy water over there, like bottled water everywhere that we went. And so we kind of thought ahead about that. And we knew, all right, water is gonna be something that we're gonna have to spend money on over there. So we brought the big water bottles with us. And every chance that we had, like if we were in a hotel or if we were at a restaurant that was serving us drinking water, we filled up our Swell bottles and we just put it in our backpack. So we always had clean, cold drinking water no matter where we were. And those Swell bottles keep it up to like 12 hours. So we knew like, all right, this is going to last us a while. And that was one technique that we used. So we didn't have to like buy as much water everywhere we went. We were able to just bring it with us. One of the places that we loved was Chiang Mai. And again, we learned this the hard way. Like this wasn't something that I knew going in. And although I had read some blogs that said that the islands were a little more expensive, I didn't realize it was going to be as dramatic until we got there. So one of the big things that I noticed was the price of food. Like when we were in Chiang Mai, which is very, very north in Thailand, it's like above Bangkok, we were able to get food at like the open food market where there were a lot of like local vendors cooking right there and they serve you fresh food. Those places, we were able to get food for like 40 baht. 40 baht is like $1.50 or something like that. Like it's super, super cheap. And so because we were able to get food that cheap, we kind of had an expectation like, oh, nice, we're going to be able to get food for like just a couple dollars for the rest of the trip. So we were really excited and we started like getting excited about spending a little bit more. And when we went to the south parts of Thailand, we went to Phuket and Phi Phi. There, the food was not 30 or 40 baht anymore. We had to pay like 200 or 300 baht for a dish. And we were like, oh man, this is going to be, not as cheap as it was when we were up in the north. But it's still not that bad. Even like 300 baht, that's still not really very pricey. That's like maybe about $9.40 something cents, like $9.45 or something. It's really not that expensive. It is less than $10 for a plate of food. But the fact is that we got used to getting food for much cheaper than that, and that kind of, then you have to adjust to paying a little bit more. So if you can plan like, a trip mostly in the north, then you're going to be able to save a lot of money. The only thing here though is that in the south and the islands down in the south of Thailand is where all the beautiful beaches are. And who could really resist those gorgeous beaches? Like that's the point of like a really nice vacation to a hot place like that, is to be able to go to the beautiful beaches and the islands. So it's not something that we avoided completely. But it was a really nice thing to do, to go down to the south of Thailand, because everything was beautiful, and the flights to go from Chiang Mai down to Phuket were less than $100 per person. And to fly, when we landed from New York, we went to Bangkok. When we got to Bangkok, we stayed there for a few days just to see, the city and everything. And then when we wanted to go up to Chiang Mai, we looked at the prices online. And even we bought tickets like 2 days before we flew. And the ticket cost us $30 per person to fly from Bangkok to Chiang Mai. So you can get flights within Thailand from different places to each other, like within the country, for very, very cheap, like $30, $35, $40 flights. My next tip is going to be about bringing money with you. So I did two main things. One is I brought money with me before I left New York. And the second thing is I had my credit card that has no international fees. So if I had a big purchase to get, like a big major purchase, for example, like a hotel room or an expensive tour, or if you would want to rent a car or something like that, those kinds of purchases, I would definitely put them on the credit card because of two reasons. One, you're going to be guaranteed to get like the accurate transaction rate for, transacting from exchange rate from going from dollars to baht, which is the currency in Thailand. And the second reason is because when you use your credit card to make purchases, you are more insured up to the amount that you spent on all your purchases, right? Credit cards have a lot more protection and insurance on your purchases compared to a debit card and compared to buying with cash. Just make sure that the credit card that you choose to go internationally with is a credit card that does not have any foreign transaction fees. That's going to be really important because those transaction fees can add up quickly and really cost you a lot. Before I left, I went to my bank and I sat down with the bank and I said, hey, I'm traveling to Thailand. I would like to exchange money now before I leave. That was such a big headache saver because what happens is that they guarantee you a low exchange rate and they also give you the money before you leave. So you don't even have to worry about, changing the money when you get to the airport or when you land in the country that you're traveling to. In my case, it was Thailand, obviously, but I had heard that like all the different exchange rates in the airport and at different cash exchange places, they vary a lot, and you don't really know like what the best one is. And then they also charge you a lot more than the bank would. So what I did was I requested the money ahead of time, like a week before you travel, because it usually takes like 2 to 3 days, like probably like 3 full days before, because they have to order the money for you and then give it to you like a few days later. The next tip is what we actually did with all the small bills. It's really annoying when you go to a country that has like really low amount of currency. So like, for example, if you go to buy something, it'll cost you $2 or $3 American dollars, but over there it sounds like hundreds and hundreds of baht. So because their currency is valued a lot less than the US dollar. So if you want to pay for something, it's been really annoying if you have to pull out all your 20s or 50s and count them up. So what we did was we mostly used large bills to pay for stuff when we were going out and about, and the smaller bills we used to tip. So there were things that we did like get a massage. We went to visit an elephant sanctuary. Whenever we had to take a taxi to different places, anytime we wanted to tip, we just used the really small bills to tip with that. And that made it really easy. We're gonna move into eating local food. So the local people were really, really, really awesome in terms of telling us which places you could trust for food, because what you noticed is a lot of restaurants were either really, really packed or like really, really empty. So that was like the first hint, because the local people, they know what food is good. They live there. They eat a lot of the food around them. So we kind of followed that as our first instinct. And then later on, once we started to get to know people that like had little shops, or the women that gave us a massage, like we were talking to them and getting to know them. And they told us like, okay, these are the places where you should go get some really good local food. And these are a few places where you should just stay away from them. And so, just by getting kind of like a little bit tuned into the local culture and the local community, you'll find out like where are the best places to eat locally. All right, I have the last couple tips here. The first one is to avoid expensive taxis. Those taxi rides can really add up. The only place where we really had to take taxis or chose to take taxis was when we got out of the airport and we had to go to our hotel. So 2 of the hotels that we booked actually had hotel transportation from the hotel to the airport, and that was awesome because it saved us money. But a couple of the other places that didn't, when we asked at the airport how much it would cost to go to the hotel, a lot of them said it was like a couple of hundred baht. So anywhere from 500 to 700 or 800 baht to get to the hotel, depending on how far it was. That would be for a hotel that's like 15 minutes away from the airport. And most of the hotels that we wanted to book were about that much, because unless you're just staying one night, you don't really want to stay at a hotel that's super close to the airport, because there's not really much to do around there. So that's something that we had to do. And I think the best thing that we learned there was the taxis are important for making sure that you are getting like a legit service, right? You don't want to get in a car with a random stranger. So at the airport, the taxis are great, and they'll also give you a flat rate. But whenever you're like out and about, it's very common for you to take a tuk-tuk, which is like a little open kind of truck. And we took tuk-tuks to go to places because we just knew it was going to be cheaper than a taxi. And it's actually really nice. Like there's no air conditioning, and there's no trunk to the car, so you can put your luggage in there, but it's open air, so you get to like feel the breeze while you're driving around. And you're passing so many different sights and views and different places. So you really get a nice view of the city, and not sitting in a car looking out the window. As long as it's not too burning hot and humid, I think the tuk-tuk was the best thing we did. And those drivers are always willing to negotiate and haggle and give you a cheaper rate, a cheaper deal, because they know that the taxis are a little bit expensive. So they look to give you a good deal. The last 2 points are also about transportation. This next one is about staying in certain areas. A lot of people, when they go travel to Thailand, they stay in like the main tourist centers. And if you do that, you're going to be paying the tourist prices. So one of the things that we decided to do was stay places that were like right outside of the centers of the busy areas. So we did that with a couple of the hotels that we booked, and we were able to book hotels for like $25 a night each, and that was like super cheap. We were also able to get places to stay that were not as expensive, like just in general, the restaurants around there, the tour agencies, the different excursions, everything that was like around the hotels that were outside of the busy centers were also a lot less expensive compared to if you were to stay somewhere right on the beach or right in the main tourist areas. Finally, the last tip is to save some money and to take advantage of the beautiful views and like taking scenic routes is to just walk more. There were a lot of times where we were like tired, and so obviously we just wanted to take like a tuk-tuk back to our hotel or something like that. But there were plenty of times where we just said, you know what, let's just walk it. It's, you know, a 20-minute walk or even a 30-minute walk along the beach or right next to the beach is a beautiful view. You get to see restaurants and little shops and all kinds of businesses along the way. And, you know, you get a beautiful view. We took so many pictures for Instagram. We took pictures for our personal albums, and we got to meet more people and see interesting things. So don't be afraid to walk everywhere. I know a lot of times when you go to a new country, especially a place that's really, really far away like Thailand, you know, a lot of blogs and a lot of people will say like, oh, be careful out there. Oh, it's dangerous. People will scam you. People will take advantage of you. But we really didn't have that kind of an experience. And I think as long as you're very careful about where you book certain things and where you're going, obviously keep an eye out for, make sure you're not walking around in the dark at night by yourself, especially not knowing where you're going. But we had, you know, our Google Maps out. We asked people where things were and what was the best route to get there. And during the day, in the mornings especially, we walked a lot, and we were able to save money, and we were able to really get some nice pictures. So I definitely recommend, don't be afraid of walking to more places. If you've also been to Thailand and you have other recommendations or suggestions and tips, please put them in the comments below, because a lot of people were curious about this topic. And I know I just picked 10 things that helped me, but there's so many more out there. I went ahead and included a link in the description box below that you can click on with links to all of the different things that we did, the elephant sanctuary that we went to, some of the restaurants that we chose to go to, and hotels that we chose to stay at. So check that out if you're interested in planning a trip of your own. And if you have questions for me or topics that you would like for me to post on my channel, you can email me at missbehelpful@gmail.com. And you can also call my number at 774-231-8522. I post videos every single week, hoping to help people get their money right and change their life for the better. So till next time, peace.